Welcome, Broncos country, to your friendly neighborhood horsepower hour. This might be therapy session round two as we figure out how our Denver Broncos get back on track after blowing yet another fourth quarter lead, this time to the LA Chargers. Harbaugh'd a third time in a row, go down by the score of 23-20. Of course, I'm joined, everybody, by my friends Kodiak, Jeremy, and Mark. Y'all be sure, get in the comments, let us know your thoughts on all this. I guess we can start off, man, before we get into Bo Overthrow. And I guess, we'll have our own section on him. Feel free to still mention him. But biggest takeaway from this gut-wrenching loss, we'll start with Mark and work our way around.
Well, biggest takeaway is that this team, basically, it seems like they read a book before every single game on how to lose one, and that's their game plan. They just have no killer instinct to them at all. They're making very stupid mistakes, and it's coming from the veteran players in many cases, ironically. And it's getting really, really frustrating, man. That's all I really say about that. But yeah, just way too many opportunities that you're letting slip. And if it doesn't turn around quickly, the season can get away from you very fast. So that's all I got to say about that.
Well put, to the point. Jeremy.
After 24 hours of reflection, I will say that this team is a lot closer than it feels sometimes. Like, seeing a lot of the plays yesterday that drove me absolutely crazy were just whiskers off. And it almost feels like we have like this high-powered, sports car that if just one little thing is wrong, it's not going to work properly. But if you get it right, and when you get it right, it's going to roll fast. So I think I'm more optimistic today than I was yesterday.
Good. Kodiak.
Great takeaways, Jeremy. I guess my main takeaway from this team is it looks like I'm watching the same thing as last year, just with a better run game and with Talanoa Hufanga. Because last year, what did we do? Okay, week one, we beat a pretty bad team, which we had no problems with last year. But last year, we also struggled against the upper echelon of teams. And you had two leads in the fourth quarter against two very strong AFC teams. And losing against the Colts doesn't look embarrassing like it once did. The Chargers, now you're trailing them in division by 2 games. So that's all I can say is it feels like I'm watching last year's team, and it feels like the upgrades, it feels like the substantial improvements that were supposed to be made have not come to fruition yet. And honestly, I could forgive it last year because I was like, all right, this team was a 5.5 win total team, but this year you had a real offseason to bolster your depth. You had a real offseason to bolster your roster, and it feels like the fruits of that have not paid off yet.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that. I was somebody throughout the offseason that was like, man, who cares about inside linebacker? We're going to be just fine with Dre Greenlaw. Man, who cares? Like, that we didn't draft a high tight end. We got Evan Ingram, even though I still wanted us to draft Gadsden. Look what he did, Mark. Look what he did against us yesterday. But
Awful.
I'm always on the optimistic side of things for the most part. But, man, I really do think that this team wasted some of their opportunities to improve themselves in their starting lineup for saying they have depth when we still got holes in our starting lineup, man. And because of that, I think we've made things a little bit harder on ourselves than they've had to be. That's kind of how I feel today. And I also feel like our team needs to learn how to win against good opponents. We've learned how to beat the crap out of opponents that we should beat, right? And even though the Titans game, yeah, the offense was a mess, our defense, man, went to work on Cam Ward. So all the big wins that we had last year, all the blowouts, those were all against inferior opponents. I think now it's very clear that next step in becoming a true Super Bowl contender is learning how to beat opponents that are just as good as you, if not a little bit better. And Justin Herbert, man, oh my God, he's amazing. He's amazing. Did you see, guys, that we had him pressured like over 50% of his dropbacks, and that man still carved us up for 300 yards.
It's crazy.
It's terrible, man. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about Bo Nix before we get into stock up, stock down. I don't know exactly how I want to do this, but I think if we're looking at one person to break down Bo Nix for us, we got to start with Jeremy, right? We have to start with Jeremy. Jeremy, what was going through your mind in yesterday's game? How did you feel 24 hours ago? How do you feel now? How do we get Bo Nix, man, back on track?
Yeah, 24 hours ago, I was really sick to what we watched the collapse, another game we should have won. And looking back on it, I honestly think I'm already going to be the Bo apologist, the Bo believer, if you will. But I honestly saw a guy doing so many good things, and I know people are going to disagree. Some people are going to agree. Some are going to disagree. But 2 out of those 3 throws, I thought should have been caught, to be honest with you. If you go back and saw the Mims one down the sideline, he's not running full speed when Bo's throwing the ball and then gears up and then it still hits him in the hands. I don't know why he's not running full speed, but if he is, it's easy. It's easy. On the Cortland one, hit him in the hands at the end of the game. And that one throw alone would have won the game because that would have put us in field goal range. We could have run the clock out 2 minutes, kicked the field goal. Well, who knows if we would have made the field goal, but we would have been in field goal range and that would have been the end of the game. And that one, he throws it, and right when he throws it, the cornerback kind of gets a little hands on Cortland, kind of reroutes him slightly and makes that just out of reach. And I felt like he alligator armed it just a little bit. Even if you look at like the thumbnail, he's not fully laid out. So that just those 2 little tiny microscopic adjustments, and you're talking about a different game, you know. Now we got to help him out. We cannot get him in 3rd and longs constantly throughout the game. I mean, to expect a guy to come out and be like, hey, just save us every single time on 3rd and long is just, you can't do that. You can't do that to your quarterback. You can't do that to a second-year player, no matter how good he is. The biggest play I had, the biggest problem I had with him yesterday was that scramble where his knee went down, half a yard short of the first down, and then we didn't go for it, which I didn't understand if we feel comfortable going for it. In my mind, it's like, you just gotta dive for that. You just have to sacrifice for that one if you're going to go full out. I didn't like the fact he kind of slid down a little bit and it ended up costing us half yard and didn't get the first down. But on that 1 4th and 2 that we ended up going for that I did not agree with at all, I'm like, kick it. And we went for it. That was an amazing play by Bo Nix. There had a free rusher right in his face. He stopped early just to buy himself a little time and then ripped it to Cortland. And if Cortland doesn't get a face mask on that play, he's probably going to score a touchdown. So there's a lot of really good. I think we're frustrated because it was so close and we lost by so little. I mean, literally any of those catches or any of those throws that hit fingertips, if they get caught, we win. So I feel good about it. Sean in the press conference today kind of defended it twice. And he said, Bo right now on the overthrows, that's the 50th thing that he's worried about at this point. He's not worried about how he's playing at all. I think his pocket mobility is really well. Now, I will agree. There are some times he needs to set his feet and he's kind of sliding into throws. And when you miss a throw barely and you're sliding into it, you're just automatically as a fan, just going to be like, if you would have set your feet, you would have made the completion.
Yeah.
But on a lot of those throws, if you go back and look at it, when he's releasing the ball and where the ball ends up, it's in the exact spot he means it to go. And there are people being rerouted or people not being full speed at the time. And it's just that slightly a little bit off. Me and Mark talked about it yesterday. I think we were a year early last year and how we ended up the season. And because of that, we have these super high expectations. And now we're like, oh, be elite. But look at like Justin Herbert. And how long it took him, Josh Allen, look how long it took him. I mean, they're in year 5, 6, like, and now they're looking the part. And you're expecting Bo to look the part immediately year 2 because of what he did last year. I just think it's unrealistic expectations to have everybody on the perfect chord right now. But I think it's coming. I do honestly think it's coming. Sorry, that was long-winded.
No, man. All I think very fair points, Jeremy. I'm curious to hear what Mark has to say with that. I know y'all had a chance, right, to talk a little bit about it yesterday, but how much are you putting this on Bo? How much are you putting this on the receivers? And I think most importantly, dude, how the hell do we get this guy back on track?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I mean, I think all of the overthrow. I would say I watched it back like 10 times, and it was so frustrating watching it back a lot. And then I watched Tim Jenkins, who's awesome. Give his standpoint. I think every single one of the overthrows was 100% on Bo Nix. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think the one that you're referencing to Mims slowing down, I think that was all by design. It was just to make it seem like they were running.
There was,
and
then
he took. Was that?
I was just gonna say there was 3. He started off slow, faking it, which is like what slowed them up purposefully.
Yeah.
But then when he does break, he's half speeding it, or like 75% of it. And then once Bo he sees it and throw it, then he goes full speed.
But Bo's got to give him a ball. I don't care if it's underthrown. Just get the ball there. You know what I mean? Like on the touchdown pass to Cortland, he didn't hit him in stride, really. I mean, Cortland had to stop a little bit, but he was so open.
Right.
It doesn't matter. So, I mean, absolutely he's got to get better, but there's a ton of different things. And that's the frustrating part with this team is that there's so many different plays and people at fault for, the game going array, right? I mean, and then you can even look at like the J.K. Dobbins screen. When the game was 2020, we get the ball with like 2:32. And that whole drive was abysmal, by the way. Bo takes off running, goes out of bounds. Terrible mistake. And then we run the ball, get like 0 yards. And then we dump off a screen to J.K. Dobbins, which was there, and he slips. He doesn't slip. He gets a first down. Now you're back in control of the game. We end up taking like 28 seconds off the clock in total. They don't burn any timeouts. The penalties you can talk about is everything. But I think the thing with Bo Nix, and I think Sean Payton, I'm sure, gave it to him, behind closed doors. He's going to protect his quarterback in the media. But I think when he says there's a lot of other things that he's concerned about, I genuinely believe that that's the case because Bo is going to hit those 9 out of 10 times, for the most part. I mean, even though he was 1 for 4 in this last game, like generally speaking, he's going to hit those significantly more often than not. His problem right now, and I kind of compare it to anybody that's played golf. It's like the golf analogy. He's going through a severe overcorrection right now, right? And I know about this because I really suck at golf. I always have, but I like to play golf. And anytime you have a problem with your swing where you're slicing everything to the right, you work on changing so many things up and overcorrecting to where all of a sudden now you're hooking and you're going left. And that's the thing you see with Bo. Like he's doing such a better job stepping up into the pocket. And he's doing such a good job of doing that he's overstepping into the pocket. And he's running into his lineman. And he's throwing off his front foot, kind of like, and like on the overthrow to, I think it was the flea flicker. He, for no reason, runs right into Quinn Miners and knocks Quinn Miners down. So it's almost like he's overdoing it, and that's where I feel like a lot of the problems are coming. Do I think it's going to get fixed? I certainly do. I just think it's something that we have to realize. All of these things are a process, right? Everything is going to come in stride. Once one thing is fixed, you've got to start fixing other things. And once Bo gets to the point where he can dice you up consistently with his arm, his feet are going to become a much better weapon that he can always use, and it's going to be a good thing there. So obviously extremely frustrating, especially when it happens 3 times. But I mean, to say like somebody in the comments said like bench Bo, and I've seen people on Twitter, and I'm sure some of these people are trolling of like start Stidham. That's the kind of stuff that gives me way more anger than the results of the game. Like just like the sheer stupidity of saying something like that. And I'm not saying whoever was in the comments of that, but just saying like to start Stidham and then being serious is mind blowing. Or like Bo Nix is the new Mac Jones. Like, dude, it blows my mind. It really does. And so, it's like the only way that you're ever going to be able to get a franchise quarterback is if you give them all the resources and all the time necessary to become that franchise quarterback. That's been our biggest issue up to this point. So Bo Nix, if he's healthy, there is not a reason in hell he should ever not be our starting quarterback unless it just becomes unfixable, which I think it's very much fixable right now.
Mm-hmm. Kodiak?
Well, I don't really feel differently than I did 30 some hours ago when we did that post game show, David. Like, to be completely honest, with all those deep balls, like if there's nobody within, I don't care how many yards, I don't care what Mims did on that play. I don't care what Sutton did or did not do in that play. Dude, just get the ball to your wide receiver. Like, that's what Marky is saying. And listen, I know that there's still kinks to be ironed out because ultimately this is still a young team. Like, even though they are all familiar with one another now, it's still the second year of this team. It's still the second year primarily with this core that we thought we could go into a Super Bowl season with. But it is disappointing and it is pretty alarming that not only we saw him hit a lot of these throws last year, and it looks like he just doesn't have that same precision and pinpoint that he did on deep balls last year. You know, everybody tried to bill him as like this check down guy coming out of college, and salute to you, Nelson. Everybody tried to bill him as like this check down guy coming out of college, but I thought it was crazy how the analysis on Nick's pre-draft was basically the opposite of what he actually was. We saw a quarterback that had insane physical tools that often relied on his deep ball and his legs to bail him out of those situations. So just the fact that the deep ball's not there anymore, and honestly, the thing I'm more mad at is, you know, the inefficiency on first and second down. Okay. Because yes, I'm mad at the overthrows. I'm mad about, you know, all that. But listen, if we're not going to hit those if we're not going to hit those deep balls, then we have to be efficient. But I feel like I'm just watching last year's team all over again. And that was the risk with relying on Ingram, you know, coming into this year and not adding anything else. You know, we knew last year that we had a really, really bad team when it came to money downs and when it came to being opportunistic on third downs. And yesterday, 2 for 13 on third downs. And a lot of that was because we were in 1st and 20, 2nd and 16. And ultimately, all that needs to get cleaned up. And once again, not all that, a large part of it is on your quarterback, but not all of it is. You know, I believe, like Mark said, when Sean Payton says that there's a lot of things we have to get corrected, when there's a lot of things that they have to get cleaned up, as he would always put it, then I agree with him. But the problem is Sean Payton prides himself so much on his team's discipline, and he prides himself so much on the team's execution. And then I said this in the postgame show with David yesterday. I was like, all right, he keeps talking about, you know, getting things cleaned up. And he always goes to the podium and says, we got to get that cleaned up. I'm like, where's the mop bucket? Where's the Windex? We're still making preseason mistakes. And it's week 3 against a team like the Chargers that we knew wasn't going to make a lot of them. Like, they had that one mistake yesterday in the fumble, and we couldn't capitalize on them. So, yeah, that's just all I have to say about the quarterback. Like, I'm disappointed for sure. And I think everybody should be disappointed with how he has played so far this season. But once again, it's still early. The good thing is that we have 14 more games of this left. And, you know, once again, the entire offense being out of sync is not all on Bo Nix. But, you know, to be your franchise quarterback, you do got to hit at least one of those. And he went, like Mark said, 1 for 4 yesterday. And that's the hard thing for me to stomach. But we'll talk more about that as the year goes along.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'm like reading too much into like the body language and stuff like that, this like so far this season, but I feel like Bo hasn't had like the best body language, not in terms of like sulking or complaining, but I feel like it's been like overly anxious, like kind of tense. And I think that you're seeing that show in the footwork because, dude, I cannot remember when we saw footwork sometimes this insane, even going back to last year when he
Tebow.
Yeah. And yeah, to see him like stepping up in the pocket and yet throwing off of his right foot in the pocket like a jump pass, it's just very strange. So what Sean Payton and this offense has to do right now, I think they have to find just some bread and butter plays that they know they can rely on. I think that they're still trying to figure out what those things are, those route concepts that they can go to, that they can rely on. I think the fact that we busted out that flea flicker in the first half yesterday shows to me that's a sign that we don't yet know those plays to get the offense going when it's in a rut. That's what that tells me. Now, Bo, dude, And to me, yeah, I don't care if it's underthrown a little bit, dude. Those guys, there's not a guy within 15 yards of any of those guys. Hit those guys. It doesn't even have to be perfect. But I think he needs to settle down. I don't feel like we ever saw him like this tense or anxious last year. Again, maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But it's like even with the way that they started the Titans game, like, you know, him and Sean Payton are yelling about it. It's just like, dude, why do we have this energy already? So I feel like, yeah, there's a dynamic there that needs to change a little bit. But by no means, even though Bo Nix broke my heart yesterday, we're gonna get back on track to the Bengals, man. We're gonna get it going. You know, he better be our franchise quarterback, just as one of the commenters said earlier on. I'm sick of the turnover. I'm sick of having new GMs and head coaches every few years. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and transition into stock up, stock down. We can kind of go rapid fire like we did. You know, each kind of take a player, go around for a little bit. Stock up, stock down. I really hope you guys don't take the guy that I'm going to do stock down. Does anybody want to go first?
No, you go first then. If you're going to
go
take
first.
it.
Yeah.
I will go first. Dude, I defended you yesterday in the post game. And yet, what do I see on Twitter? I see a screenshot on Twitter of this man lined up next to Garrett Bowles with his hand on the blue line. Adam Troutman, what does he bring to this team other than Sean Payton feels like he can trust him? But for some reason, he doesn't do anything trustworthy on the field. Holding call yesterday, as well as that offsides, that was killer. That was one of the nice plays from RJ Harvey. That was a play over 15 yards, I believe. And it's all erased because Adam Troutman, he actually can't do any of the little things right, man. I pray to God we bring in a new tight end. And this is what's frustrating. We got $15 million in cap space right now, gentlemen. $15 million. That's plenty of space to bring in some talent over these vets that aren't getting it done. Adam Troutman, stock down, baby. Stock down. All right, Mark.
Man, there's so many like stock down people that I wanna blame. I don't even really know where to begin. That's a good one. Adam Troutman was completely and utterly worthless yesterday.
Worst player on the field yesterday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll say this, and I'm saying stock down, not because I stopped believing in this player, but this is somewhere, if you're talking about wanting to make a change on this field, you might consider this, and that is Riley Moss. All right. Because my guy always seems like he's in good coverage, but he always seems like he's a tick off, a fingernail away, a half a step too late. And that is exactly what this entire Denver Broncos team seems to be like. And the thing about it is this. I'm not saying you got to bench Riley Moss and not play him, but there's going to come a time because teams are going to continue to go after him. We're going up against Cincinnati's backup quarterback. You don't think Jake Browning is going to just go after Riley Moss when he's lined up against T. Higgins next week? It's going to happen. And every time I've ever seen Chris Abrams-Drain play, he just makes plays every single time. He also spent a first-round pick on Jahdae Barron. So it might be a little bit too early to make the change, but it's getting there, man. It's getting there because I'm sick of seeing him so damn close but not be able to consistently make plays. It's kind of getting to the point now where it's driving me nuts. So that's my stock down player for the day.
Yeah, I'm going to make it spicy. Stock up, Riley Moss. He's the only person on the field who actually made a play that made a turnover besides Jonah Ellis.
Oh, true.
He put his hand up, got the deflection. Brandon Jones, all he had to do was gather it up. That was a huge play in the game. Great coverage on the touchdown that they tied it up on. I'm not going to blame that on. I'm sorry. I'm not going to blame that on Riley Moss. He was in a tough situation. Benito, if he just has his hand 6 inches to the left, that's probably getting deflected. It's just sometimes other guys make good plays too. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I thought he was tough. I thought he played tough.
Was at all the reason to lose the game.
I know.
But
what
I
you're
am
saying.
sick of it always being like, as I'm always defending Riley, man. Always. And it's always like, he's almost there. You know,
He
He
was,
had
but
great coverage. He just got beat. That's
and
every
like
single game.
right now it's like with Bo Nix, it's like, dude, but he's so close. But if he does this for another 2-3 weeks, I'm gonna say, I don't give a shit how close he is anymore, man. Like he's got to figure it out.
But you got to understand,
So-
like, he's opposite Patrick Surtain. He's in great coverage, and these guys are making great plays. But he also made, maybe if we win that game, I'm seeing that's maybe the turning point of the game. They're up 10-0, and he makes the play that flips everything and gives us momentum. And now all of a sudden we have the lead. So I thought that was an amazing play by Riley Moss to just create that interception. So I hear what you're saying. It is frustrating. Anytime somebody makes a catch, you just immediately go, "Oh, you did bad." But like, that's the hardest position on the field, and they were calling some crazy stuff. Like, if I could, yeah, I'll wait. Yeah, I'm gonna say I think Riley Moss is scrappy. Out of anybody I can see playing opposite Patrick Surtain, I like it, and I think
but
he
don't you
made
feel
the plays.
like, and I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. Don't you
Yeah.
feel like if you're playing opposite of PS2 and you know you're gonna get a lot, like I listen, I expect you to get beat. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like Jaquan McMillan, everyone always used to want to shit on him because he would get beat. But my goodness, he would always come back and make a big play, man. Always, every single time. I haven't seen that yet from Riley. So when do you expect that to happen? Of like, keep testing me and this is gonna happen. Otherwise, defenses don't care how close you are if you're not making consistent plays. I mean, you pointed out the one of this week, but you can look at really the entirety of most of last year, and a lot of it is like he's so close, but it's just not there.
If he's getting beat, like to me, that's not getting beat. That is like people are in. It's Keenan Allen in like a super. I mean, he made a great catch. Like most people wouldn't have made that catch. That was great coverage, and
That was
I don't
a great
know.
play by Herbert too. My God, I mean,
It was.
should have gotten him.
That's where I felt like something's up because Benito was this close and then Riley was this close. And I can't blame either one of those guys. They both were like in the right position to make the play. And, sometimes Herbert made a great throw, made a great play, and Keenan Allen made a great play. So like, those are really good players. And I know like the Chargers are a good team, and we learned now that the Colts are a really good team. So that's the one solace that I have is like people are like, "Oh, we're 1-2 team," but it's like, yeah, you should be 3-0, and you played two really good teams, and you had them both. So yeah, we are 1-2. You are what your record says you are, but there's context, and the context is that we are a very good team, but we just need to learn how to close. That's it. Just learn how to close. We're a young team, and that's where we're at.
If that wasn't the perfect Riley Moss discussion right there of how divisive he is in the fan base, I don't know what it is. Somebody clip that. Kodiak, stock up, stock down. Is it Riley Moss?
Stock level Riley Moss. Okay. I feel like, I just want to throw my 2 cents in because I probably know more about Riley Moss than anybody else in our fan base does. He's my favorite player on the team because I'm all for equality. So my TikTok comments were absolutely littered with, hate for Riley Moss. Everyone's saying bench Riley, cut Moss. And Moss this year, when he's been targeted, has allowed a completion percentage of 48%. If you remove the Titans game, it's 56%. And we have a full season sample of him being one of the best cornerback twos in the league. Okay. Before his injury last year, he was one of 11 DBs to allow less than 60% of his targets to be completed and allowed the 13th worst passer rating against. So for Kendra saying that these are some weak arguments for Riley Moss, I'm going to give you a strong one. Okay. Like, listen, that we have a very full sample of him being one of the best cornerback twos in the league. And people want to talk about Abrams drain. It's a fun idea, much like Davis Webb is a fun idea for calling plays because we have not seen his limitations play out for a full season. Okay. I love Abrams drain. I'm excited about him, but he's 5'10", 181. All right. And for Moss this season, it hasn't always been smooth. It hasn't always been valid, and he does need to clean it up. But first of all, 2 of the plays the Chargers made against him, otherworldly plays. By the way, on that final touchdown to Keenan Allen, our defensive core, one of our defensive core pieces, Zach Allen, had his hands on Herbert in the backfield. And if you're going to be one of the best, the game's very best, you got to bring him down. That's just the reality of the situation. I don't care how good Herbert is. You got to bring him down if you want to be considered one of the game's very best. But yeah, Moss got flagged for a PI on that other insane throw to Quentin Johnston. And I'm here to tell you that flag was BS. Everybody knows it. It wasn't a penalty. But it's valid to be like, why does he have perfect coverage and he's still allowing stuff? But I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because nobody wants to ever give him credit that he helped force the interception. And listen, once again, he needs to be better situationally, but I want to be logical about our approach here. Yeah, I don't know. That was a lot of time, so I'll just move it over to David. And we've talked so much about Riley Moss.
Mark, are you gonna say something? Were you gonna say something now? I saw you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough because I genuinely do love Riley, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm just going after him, right? But again, last year you saw him get targeted a lot, and you saw Jaquan McMillan get targeted basically just as much, and Jaquan made a lot more plays than Riley did, right? This secondary this season. The entire secondary has only allowed 2 touchdowns in terms of like guys in coverage, not to like running backs catching the ball or running out of the backfield. 2 touchdowns. Both of those touchdowns were on Riley Moss. Both of them. So you can talk about like a 46% completion percentage, and that's good. Like that's a good thing, but it's just natural that if you have a lot of targets going your way, you're probably going to have a lower overall percentage because you got to account that someone's going to be inaccurate throws and he's going to have opportunities to make plays. So my issue with him is not that like I don't think he should be our starter. My issue is that we need to start seeing him make more plays like he did on Sunday consistently. Otherwise, it's just going to be, oh man, he made this play, but he gave up that play, type of a thing.
Exactly. And that's valid. That's why he was a stock level for me. And once again, he does need to be better situationally. And, his lack of length, I think, is really showing up. He's like in the 7th percentile for DB arm length. And I feel like that might be a part of his limitations right now.
That's absolutely the biggest issue with Riley Moss right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you talk about him like swatting the ball. Okay. The ball's right here. It feels like Riley Moss's hand is always right here when the DB, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
that is an issue.
He has 30-inch arms.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's crazy. I have longer than 30-inch arms.
Exactly. So that's part of the issue right here. But I'll move it over to David because we've talked so much about Riley Moss.
Oh man, do I go stock up? Do I go stock down? Appreciation for this guy, well worth the money, and we're not even sniffing getting close to winning this game or sniffing blowing a 4th quarter lead if we don't have Cortland Sutton on this team, man. Touchdown catch, over 115 yards. I think he had 116 on the day, moving towards another 1,000-yard season for Cortland Sutton. Yes, guys, we still go after and get a high-end wide receiver in this draft, man. I would love that. Give me the guy from USC Andy's talking about. I don't even know his name. Lemon. Yeah, him. But Cortland Sutton, man, he is our Adam Thielen of this wide receiver room, and I will not take him for granted. So, stock up there. We'll get back on track. Mark, where are you going?
Oh, for stock up, huh?
Or you can be stock down.
For me, it's like everybody, like most of the team is stock down right now. I'd say J.K. Dobbins has been awesome. He's been fun to watch.
Dude, yes.
He's been a little bit of a revelation, obviously, in the running back position. Now, I'll say the stats are a little bit overinflated, if you want to be honest, but he brings a juice and an element to this game that's really special. I mean, that catch that he had, like he goes down one-handed, stiff arms Henley, tiptoes, makes a play. Those are things that we were like certainly missing. So it's really nice to see that, and hopefully he can continue to stay healthy. Because that's going to be a big piece, because I don't know what the hell is going to happen after that. But it's one of those things where like he's been great, but you also want to see more RJ Harvey. It's very confusing. It's because his team's very confusing. We're like in such a transitional phase right now. I feel like we're a 14-year-old boy. So it's one of those things where, it's a weird situation. But I will say, stock up for J.K. Dobbins. I felt like he's been awesome, and I think he has a touchdown in every game, if I'm not mistaken. So kudos to him. Hopefully he can keep that up.
Jeremy.
Man, I'm going to be the devil's advocate for both of you guys, but I'm going to say stock even for J.K. Dobbins. If you go back and watch that last drive, the clutch drive where if we just go down and kick a field goal, we win. The first down play where Bo ends up scrambling and running out of bounds, the guy that forces him out of bounds, J.K. Dobbins could have blocked that guy and got blown up by that dude and then got chased. And if he just gets in front of him and slows him down a little bit, Bo's scrambling for 7, 8, maybe 10 yards. So that was a big one. And then the next play, what does he do? He takes a screen and slips on what could have been another big play. So it's like those are two clutch plays that he blew. But he did have that really good run, which was a great catch, and
it should have been
scampered down the field, which is insane that it was a run. But I mean, yeah, you could tell he wanted the Chargers, but man, those two plays at the very, very most crucial part of the game to blow both of those, that really hurts. Real quick, my stock up, Jonah Ellis, fantastic. I just thought, I mean, the way he just is relentless. He's a great tackler, and what a great play on special teams to knock that ball loose and to give us that second turnover, which we desperately needed. So yeah, huge stock up for him.
Kodiak, where are you going?
Man, stock up Nick Bonito. And here's why. So the best argument I had heard against paying Bonito all offseason, all summer, was that he wasn't good enough against good tackles. But what did he do against Joe Alt yesterday? Against Joe Alt on one of his reps, he completely ate his lunch. And yeah, that was my biggest complaint with Bonito. I guess it did help that the Chargers didn't have Slater or anything like that. But you move on the other side to one of the game's very best, and Bonito completely ate his lunch a couple times. So stock up Nick Bonito. He is showing he's having a monstrous season so far. I believe he leads the NFL in pressures through 3 weeks of the season. I think he has 22 at this point. So, and we're just scratching the surface of what he could be to this defense. So he's been really, really good so far. And like I said, I was one of those guys that as the summer went on, I was like, man, we got Q Robinson, we got Jonah Ellis, but it's showing right now why Bonito is ascended to one of the game's very best edge rushers. So I'm really, really happy with Bonito's play so far.
Yep.
I am too, man. I'm thankful we got a franchise edge rusher the way we got Nick Bonito. Now, before I get to this next guy, I know Cal Johnson, man, he's hurting. I believe he was at the game yesterday, man. Saying, man, I understand we've had some no-show tight ends, man, but man, I was not expecting you to say this is why we need to get Albert O back. This is why we never should have let Albert O go. Man, I was not expecting that direction, man, right there. Man, I know you're hurting, but Albert O, no. Caden Prescorn, yes. Yes, Caden Prescorn. That's what I'm talking about. So, anyways, I'll do another stock up. No, screw it. I'm doing stock down. Sean Payton, I love you, buddy. But how many years have you coached in the NFL and you still don't how to figure out how to win in September? What the hell is September being your kryptonite for when you got a Super Bowl? You got all these accolades, kind of like Riley Moss, just always being, an inch too short on so many of these things. It's like, I still love you, man. But how a lot of people feel about Riley Moss right now in this moment, I feel about Sean Payton. I'm sick of trying to say, well, it's just September. Man, it was great coverage. Dude, Sean Payton, figure this thing out. I should have put him in the thumbnail instead of Bo Nix. Wake the hell up. We got to start winning in September. We're making things harder for ourselves down the stretch. Boo. All right. Maybe we go one more round. Mark, what you got?
Well, I was going to say, in terms of the September thing, I think he does it on purpose, man. He doesn't lose on purpose, but I think September is he just experiments. Yes. He sees, hey, we know what and this could be obviously a theory, but it kind of makes sense given how his teams typically always make a turnaround. It's we know what our staple plays are. We know we're good at those. We're going to work on getting good at the explosives or the other stuff so that if we get good at those, then we can end up, being a lot more complete. So that could be the case. I'm not entirely sure. Oh man, a stock down player in this one for me. If I wanted to do stock down, let me choose one that might be a little bit fun. Luke Wattenberg, bro. Speaking of somebody that's overcorrecting, Luke Wattenberg is in his overcorrecting phase because I don't know if I'm seeing things different, but he was always a very good pass blocker and a really terrible run blocker. And I actually feel like he's run blocking really well, but now his pass blocking has kind of gone to shit this year. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll see what PFF says here. I'll try to pull it up. But yeah, I just wanted to throw a shade at Luke Wattenberg because it just feels like anytime Bo is getting pressure, albeit sometimes he does step up into it, it's so often coming from the inside, and it's very disruptive to him. And I think that's what kind of gets him a little bit panicky. The problem is, do we want to trust Forsyth? But I don't think anything's going to get changed with this O-line. I don't think it should. But Luke Wattenberg, I feel like is really got to get better overall. And I don't know. It's always hard to judge a center based off of like, are they making the right calls or are they getting the offensive line into the right plays? I don't know if he's doing a better or worse job per se on that. But I know I did note yesterday that there was one play where Bo clearly called the protection left, and somebody on the O-line or the running back didn't end up picking the free blitzer, and Bo ends up basically just taking off and throwing it away. But that could be on a lot of different people. But yeah, I'm just gonna put Luke Wattenberg there because I don't feel like going through the list of the entire roster.
That's good. That's good, Jeremy.
I think Sean agrees with you because when it was 4th down and we needed 6 inches or whatever a foot to get it, they didn't trust that they were going to push and get it. And that tells you a lot.
Freaking annoying.
I will go for it when it's 4th and 5, 4th and 2.5, but 4th and inches, we're going to punt. And that is trust. You don't trust that you have the guys up front to get the push. So I agree with you. I don't think he trusts Will Lutz because when he could have kicked a 50-yarder, he decided to go for it, which ended up being a shorter field goal. And I don't think he trusts us to get 6 yards or six inches either.
And their stupid silent snap count is so annoying. Do you guys get annoyed by that? Where you see like Miners, he looks and then he goes, and then they snap it. It just bothers me because it's like, dude, these guys can just jump the snap. That's not on the Wattenberg. That's just a side note. I just remembered. I was like, and like, why are you in the silent count? You were basically at home yesterday. It wasn't even loud.
Speaking of that, though, you know what drives me nuts is they, for some reason, like mess around until there's 2 on the clock, and then Bo's like, no, and then and then he's frantic. Then the rest of the play, then his feet are all frantic because he's like panicking to get the snap off. How about we just get the snap off at like, I don't know, 4?
Yeah.
3,
how about Sean Payton gets the call in? How about we get the call 15 in? Seconds?
Thank you. How about we break the huddle with 15 seconds instead of 8? I don't like it. So
how about we stop mass subbing? How about we stop subbing like 7 dudes in and out on our offense?
No,
if you notice, we are significantly better offense when we're in no huddle.
Yes.
Always. So
I think Alex nailed it. I honestly think I made a point with Mark yesterday. I said it felt like we were trying to tune like a real complicated TV, and then we can't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, like it's crystal clear for like 5 minutes, and you're like, what did you do? And you're like, I don't know. I just hit these buttons. I don't know what buttons I hit. And then all of a sudden it goes scrambled again, and then we can't figure it out. I think you nailed it, Alex. I think get a freaking personnel that gets multiple plays in a row. How hard would it be to come in and out and be like cold and then make a play? You're not in rhythm. You're not warm. I think that's honestly the key to it right now. And I get it. Sean is the smartest guy, whatever. But like in September, just maybe crawl before you walk, jog before you sprint, whatever you need to do, just get some base plays.
Was Bill Parcells this bad in September?
I know a lot of really, really great NFL like talents. September was just their kryptonite. Like I remember Tom Brady losing some games to dog shit teams. Even during the height of the Patriots dynasty. I don't know what it is about September, man. It doesn't seem like a Sean Payton problem specifically, a Bo Nix problem specifically. It just seems like September, I don't know. And I think it's going to get even worse next year or whenever the NFL inevitably moves to an 18-game season. That's just my thought. Another thing I want the Broncos to do, like this isn't stock up or stock down. I want the Broncos to take the ball once, and I want them to try to strike quick. Like against Cincinnati, I think if you win the toss, you receive. Like I get wanting to get your defense on the field. I get the benefits of having it at halftime. That being said, I want us to go like no huddle the entire game because we haven't had like a real lead this season. Like we haven't had the chance to really throw a nuts down on a team. But my final stock down, I guess it's going to be the front office. It's going to be the Sean Payton, George Payton. And here's why I say this. Like this goes back. You can trace the limitations on this roster to Payton trading 3 firsts and 3 seconds for not only Russell Wilson, but hiring Hackett, having to fire him, and hiring Sean Payton or bringing Sean Payton in as well. But my biggest problem is that the bad parts of this team, besides the run game, are still bad. And I guess Hufanga too. Hufanga's been awesome besides that penalty yesterday. But, relying on Greenlaw Ingram to fix inside linebacker and tight end, it was always risky. And listen, it hasn't panned out in our favor. And look what you did, just adding one more running back to your running back room this past offseason. It looks entirely different. Even though Harvey's not going right now, nobody cares. Like nobody cares at all because the run game is finally like making a stamp on this team. But I give a lot of blame to this front office because the bad parts of this team were inside linebacker and tight end last year. And you had a whole offseason to finally fix it. You had a lot of resources to finally do something about it. I know a lot of people are mad about the Jahdae Barron pick, and I wouldn't say I'm mad about it right now, but man, I'm just like, all right, you completely hampered your flexibility by selling us on this dude that was a can't miss defensive prospect. So yeah, like that's where I'm really, really annoyed with this front office. A lot of people want to say George Payton masterclass whenever an extension happens. And yeah, sure, the Broncos do a good job with contracts now because of the Russ debacle, but personnel wise, I'm not very impressed. It looks like we're watching the same team from last year, to be completely honest, even if we do have a few upgrades in certain spots. And I could forgive it last year because we didn't have any resources for that team. That was a 5.5 win total team on paper coming into the season, even with all the breakouts we got from all our guys. But this past offseason, no excuses. You had cap space, you had a full arsenal of draft picks, and that's just where I'm at with that. I'm really not happy because we're still talking about the trash inside linebackers and a trash tight end room. And that was something we talked about a lot last season and still not better. I respect that they tried, but you didn't do enough. That's just the reality of the situation.
Speaking of can't miss prospects, how's Emeka Egbuka looking in Tampa?
Oh man.
Dude, he's about to get fed. He's about to get
He
fed.
was the most obvious hit of the draft, and they sniped him from us.
Yeah.
I know.
Jahdae Barron would not be a Denver
I'm telling you, we were
Bronco.
scrambling. That was the pick, dude.
Yeah, it was the
and
pick.
He's
100%.
unbelievable, man. He is unbelievable. He is so fun to watch. I'm so upset that we don't have him still.
Just an inch too short. Just a pick too late.
I never would have thought that Tampa was going to take him, dude. No way.
No, dude. I hate them. I hate them so much. Yeah. Barron, didn't he play like 20% of the snaps yesterday?
I think it was 19, or it's getting lower and lower each week, which really pisses me off.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we're done, but I gotta say this, dude. One draft pick that was a masterclass. It was Jeremy Crawshaw again, absolutely booming it, killing it. Been our best player on the whole team so far this year. All pro punter. We got him for the next 15, 20 years, maybe 25 years, depending on how long he wants to punt for. He looks amazing, and I will always defend that pick to Mark's chagrin.
No, that's fine.
He's been
that's
good.
fine. I mean, you're lucky Aranda Gasson didn't go in the 6th. You're lucky. He went in the 5th. So you can have it this one.
I know. Okay. Well, before we get to the Bengals preview, I got to do a quick plug for flagship sponsor David Cox Broncos. Guys, thank you for being so supportive, but it is ProfitX, your number one peer-to-peer sports prediction market in America. And this is what I got right now, guys, because it's peer-to-peer, you're able to get the best lines possible, and you can even make your own on ProfitX. Use my promo code Dave in the description. Get yourself a nice $200 profit cash bonus and sign up. But here are the lines that we're looking at right now, guys. Got Denver at -7 against Cincinnati. I mean, they got destroyed by Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings. -119 odds. Total over-under right now, 43.5. And really just outright to win, Denver's -360. So I really do like that. But I know we're a little short on time. Jeremy, I didn't know if you had any hold your horses or stuff like that as we get into
We
the
do.
Bengals game, but maybe we can kind of combine them.
I can go through it quick. I can go through.
Sure.
I'm going to go each person round robin and give me 20 seconds and an answer here. Let's go, David. We need to worry about Bo Nix going forward. Giddy up or hold your horses.
Yes. Yeah. Not panic, but I cannot lie to you guys, man. Who the hell sets their feet? If that was Kyle Orton, if that was Chad Kelly out there with feet like that, we'd be blowing them up too. There's a little bit more patience because of the investment, and I'm willing to ride with that. But this is something that I was not expecting. So giddy up.
All right. I blame the wide receivers. All right. We need Alex, we need to worry about the coaching / play calling especially in fourth quarters, but just overall.
I'll put this in two parts. Do we need to worry about the play calling? No. We left a lot out there, and that's not on the coaches yesterday. Do we need to worry about the coaching? Yeah, because like I said, Sean Payton prides himself on being very disciplined, always says we need to clean it up, and it hasn't gotten cleaned up so far. And the defense penaltied the Chargers down the field on the final drive of the game. And I don't disagree with punting the football. I think punting the football was the correct move in that situation because of how ferocious our pass rush had been. But Vance and Sean Payton, you got to have the guys more disciplined.
Agree. Mark, we need to worry about this team's toughness.
No, I'd say hold your horses on that. We just need to figure out a way to not get out-snapped by so many plays in a game. 80 plays for the Chargers, 48 for the Broncos. I know I've said it so much on every show since the game. That blows my mind. And that's been the story of our team for a long time. So I don't think it's a toughness thing. I just feel like we need to figure out how to get into a rhythm. But no, I would say hold your horses when it comes to the toughness.
Okay, physical toughness, but what about mental toughness?
No, I just think it's stupidity. I mean, I wouldn't say like stupid plays is a lack of mental toughness. In fact, I feel like you can look at it and say a lot of the gotta have it drives that we've needed to come back, we've gotten those. It's been the putting teams away, but I just think it's execution more than toughness.
Gotcha. All right, let's get to the preview.
I got to say, though, how about we draft some national champions? How about that? I mean, all these guys, they go to big programs and stuff like that, but what are they known for, man? Losing these big games, freaking LSU, Texas, Oregon, can we get some?
We should draft some more
the Philadelphia Eagles, man. They draft freaking Georgia Bulldogs. I guess we got Pat Surtain, Alabama Crimson Tide, so I am misspeaking a little bit, but damn, dude, it would be nice to have some more national champs on this team.
Yeah. We have an affinity for the Utah players and the Texas players.
Yeah.
What the hell have they won?
They won the Pac-12
no, Utah
Dizzy
looking
2
pretty
years
good,
ago, right?
They won the Rose Bowl once.
Oh,
yeah, Vince Young days.
Preview. Okay, guys. Maybe we can rapid fire this too, but maybe we can go around with like our keys to the game or some different things that we want to see, not necessarily predicting, but that we're desperately hoping to see. I have no idea where I want to start with this. So Kodiak, Mark, Jeremy, do one of you guys have a pretty clear idea of what we need to see for the Broncos to make sure we take care of business as -7 favorites next Monday night?
Yes, I do want to start out with this one. And the reason I want to start out with this one is because I want to remind everybody of what Jake Browning looked like yesterday. And it seems like this team is not doing a good job of tuning everything out. Last year, they did an amazing job of tuning everything out. But, this upcoming week, we're 7.5-point favorites, as we should be. I think that's a very fair line for this game. But Jake Browning 2 years ago, I said this on our post game yesterday. Jake Browning 2 years ago against the Jaguars had one of the best Monday Night Football games I've ever seen from a backup quarterback. So you just got to tune out all the noise. You got to tune out all the BS of, the Broncos should stop this team. And honestly, they probably should because the Bengals without Burrow looked lost yesterday. But once again, this Broncos team doesn't seem to have that killer instinct. And if you're not careful, man, this is still an offense that has Chase Brown, even though the run blocking's been a disaster this year. It still has Jamar Chase. It still has T. Higgins. And that secondary ate you alive, or that receiving core ate you alive last year. So you got to be locked in. Doesn't matter that Browning's the quarterback. you got to lock in for this game. That's my key to the game is just, if I'm Sean Payton, I would show every snap of that Jake Browning game from 2 years ago against Jacksonville.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. You need to have Jake Browning all over himself because Benito, Cooper, Zach Allen, my God, like let's get pressure. Let's get some turnovers. Like, I honestly think that might be one of the reasons we won the turnover battle yesterday, but like creating defensive turnovers is really where we had that streak last year and we really went crazy. Like, help out the offense, make things easier, play like what Mark was saying yesterday, play football where you're complimenting the other side of the ball. My goodness gracious. It seems like, he said it where offense looks good, defense looks bad. Defense looks good, offense looks bad. Like, can we just put together a game? There were so many things to correct from yesterday. I honestly think you go back in the lab and there's nothing we're 1-2 and you have the Eagles coming up. So right now you need to get focused as much as any time in the season coming up. So go in there. There's no breaks and just put your head down and figure things out. Get whatever you need to do, get disciplined, be smart. We need to be a smart, disciplined, tough football team this week. That's what the goal should be.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at what O'Connell did for the Vikings yesterday and do that exact same game plan. This Cincinnati defense is atrocious. They are horrendous in every single way possible, right? Yes, their offense still got a lot of talent with Jake Browning. I mean, they could give you fits fine. There's no reason why, in any circumstances, we should be throwing the ball more than we're going to run, even though we're probably going to. And we shouldn't run for well over 150 yards in this game. This should be a pound you in the mouth, wear you down, at home, primetime game. Listen, at the end of the day, I only care if we win, but this is a game that you should, I genuinely believe you should win by 10 points or more. Easily.
Points.
Absolutely. So it's just going to be one of those, man, where if you're going to keep doing stupid things, if you're going to keep turning the ball over, if you're going to keep having really dumb penalties, and you're going to refuse to get a 2-score lead on a team, it doesn't matter who the hell the quarterback is on the other side. They're going to have a chance to beat you. So it's just going to have to be us taking care of business, man. And God, I'm hoping that we do, because if we lose to the Bengals, I might really flip on the overall outlook of this team.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be bad.
Yes. If you're in a street fight and you're fighting for your life, you're kind of grappled up. If a nut shot's there, you're going to take it.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Like you're going to knee that guy right in the nuts. Who cares about bro code, all that stuff? You're going to kick him in the nuts multiple times and make sure he cannot get off the ground. This team has no killer instinct right now, and they need to show that they're willing to do what is necessary to absolutely dominate their opponent. Be a bully. Bullies will punch you in the nuts. And they'll laugh in your face when they do it. That's what I want to see out of this team, is show some killer instinct. Sometimes I do wonder if we got too many nice guys on this team. Too many likable guys. We all get along. There's no bad apples in the locker room. I think we might need a loose cannon or 4 on this team, man, honestly. Because, right now when it's put up or shut up time, man, we've been bitching up here in the fourth quarters. I hate that, man. Grab their nuts and make sure they're not walking ever again. So, yeah,
I'd say,
I
agree. But I think if we go up 7-0 in this game and then Jake Browning get the ball, just hit him so late. You know what I mean? Get the 15 yards. Get the 15 yards, but you just give him one to the rib cage, dude, and it might mess him up for the rest of the game, because he was getting killed by the Vikings too. By all accounts, they got to stop the run also. That's one thing I wanted to add.
We really do miss Malcolm Roach, dude. We really do. He's one of those kind of, crazy dudes that
Yep.
you just kind of need out there on the football field. And we need more of that. Less Awazarike type of energy, more Malcolm Roche type of energy. So
and that's the real big loss with Dre Greenlaw. I think Dre Greenlaw, along with Hufanga, will be the catalyst for a tough-nosed team. And when you lose Roach and Greenlaw, it's not the same energy, like you just said. And I think Ingram too. Ingram he's that veteran safety outlet for Bo. And when he's not in there, it's Cortland or bust sometimes. And it's just not, it's like how it's shades of last year. So we're unfortunately missing really key players right now.
Yeah.
Go
100%.
get Cole Kmet.
Yeah, literally. Go get Kmet.
Maybe we should have taken Cam Scatabo.
Maybe. He looks good so
that
far,
guy's
but
absolutely out of his mind.
Jeremy, take your lap. Take your lap.
I was gonna say that's the kind of dude I love. I want a guy when it's 4th and inches, you go, hey, we got this dude. He's gonna get it 100%. I want a team, and that's why the Eagles are so successful. When they get 3rd and short, 4th and short, they're gonna get it. Right?
Yeah.
So like that's the team. That's the way you need to play football. You need to impose your will.
And I think they said something on the radio about him today. They were like, that's the kind. They're like, he's the kind of running back you either love or you hate. Like some guys love the running backs to where they're very shifty and savvy and they look smart and eloquent, like with the way that they play. And then you have Cam Scatabo, who looks like he eats crayons. And for some reason, when they said that, I was dying because I can see that. He seems like the kind of guy that would just eat crayons and is out of his mind. But it kind of sounds good right now, man, on this team. Like, just give me somebody that's just batshit crazy.
Dogs,
Literally. I was about to say, is Adam Pac-Man Jones still out there?
Dude, we need somebody with some attitude for real. Bring somebody in, man.
I don't know. Like, I think about Alex Singleton, and I'm just like, all right, somebody in the chat says Singleton is a dirty player. Singleton's not a dirty player. He's like one of the great community guys. He's just a stupid player. That's the issue with him, is that he's like one of the nicest guys in the locker room, apparently. I don't want, a teddy bear. Why I was so excited when they signed Greenlaw this offseason was because apparently Greenlaw is an absolute menace when he's on the field. Apparently he's just absolutely batshit crazy, when it's time for the game. And Singleton, for all accounts, for whatever he is, apparently he still looks way too nice on the field, in my opinion. So, yeah, I want dudes that just absolutely hate the other teams. If I'm a prospect, or if I'm looking at draft prospects this upcoming year, I'm looking for dudes that literally fought their rival team. If I'm looking at a Mizzou player, I'm looking at a guy who got into a fight during a Kansas game. If I'm looking at an Iowa player, I want a guy who got into a fight with the Iowa State player. So, yes, that's what we need to be a little more crazy. I want guys who bleed orange and blue, and I want guys that absolutely hate the opposition. And I feel like, yeah, we hate the Chiefs. Yeah, we hate the Raiders. But I feel like had we had a little bit more fight yesterday, we could have taken down the Chargers.
We don't hate losing enough yet. This team does not hate losing enough.
No, we're fine with moral victories. That's a good question. So, Cody, I got a question. Maybe you guys can take it. This will be a fun one. So, with that being said, if you can choose one player from the past, 20 years of Broncos teams, who would you choose for this team?
I got one.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
As far as what the type of attitude we need, Aqib Talib. That's the guy I want.
I love him.
Can you imagine him opposite of
Patrick Surtain? Yeah, dude. Like, I want a guy who's gonna rip your necklace off and then shoot himself in the leg. That's who I want. Like, he's just, dude. Like, when it's the most clutch time of the game, that's when he's like chomping at the bit, and that's why I loved how he played. He didn't care if it was Gronkowski. He didn't care if it was Crabtree. It didn't matter. Like in the AFC Championship, when they're going for a 2-point conversion for them to tie, or you're going to the Super Bowl, who's the guy knocking and tipping the ball? Aqib Talib. That's the dude that makes it all go. And Vaughn got all the credit, and rightfully so, in 2015. But Aqib Talib was the spirit animal of that defense, 100%.
Kodak, do you think of anybody?
I didn't think about it, but just to say something about that, like I think about that 2015 defense, and even Von Miller was in court a little more than we would have liked him to have been for being our star edge rusher. So like I'm thinking, man, maybe I'll change a gear in Benito's car or something. Maybe he gets arrested, and maybe he can. Maybe we get an actual dog on this defense or something like that.
Oh man, I think
you got
Al
one, Mark?
Wilson sounds pretty good right now, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
What I
for-
appreciate about that 2015 team, I think it was TJ Ward talking about this. He's like, when we go up against these really good opponents, like it was just part of our plan, whether that was said or unsaid, to go and make sure you got a late hit penalty early on. So like you're setting the tone. They know what's going on. Like, and it worked, dude. I can't remember how many times I'm like, oh my God, does this team always have to get a personal foul penalty every single game? But it like worked out. It worked out. It set the tone, and those teams absolutely refused to lose. They just would not lose. We could really use a Danny Trevathan. And I will say this is another great time to plug who should be in the Ring of Fame. Wasn't on the best teams, but man, this guy could play. Top 10 tackler of all time throughout the franchise, DJ Williams. Yes, please. Give me DJ.
Oh, yeah. He got arrested a lot too, didn't he?
Yeah, we have too many nice guys, man. You know,
I know.
maybe that coach, who is the coach that we had? Marcus something, that was our defensive line coach. They got arrested for like fighting a police officer at DIA. Maybe he's what we needed, dude. You know, maybe he brought that fight, but from the sidelines. And now we're a little bit softer because of him. So I think we're on.
Yeah,
to something,
like
guys.
has
I think
anybody on
we
this
need
team?
A felon.
Yeah, has anybody on this team been part of the 7th floor crew or something like that, man? Like, no, nobody has, but DJ Williams.
I don't think you need to get arrested, but I do think you need that dog mentality. I'll give you two players who are the nicest people in the world off the field, 3 actually, and they all played safety. Steve Atwater, John Lynch, and Brian Dawkins. They all brought that dog, but all of them are super nice guys. So I just need you to be a menace on the field, and we just need that mentality. Now, here's the other question. What player the last 20, 25 years, we'll stretch it, on offense does this team need the most?
Like Seth
I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of
Julius.
easy for me. Like, but I feel like I'm missing on somebody. But
Yeah.
Were you
20
gonna say
years?
something?
Yeah. Well, you go 30. That's fine. You can go back to the glory
You got
years.
somebody in mind, David?
Oh, I was gonna just comment on Seth saying, you know, Julius Thomas would be perfect for this offense, but he also, like, of course, embodies just like being soft and not like caring enough to
Julius
win, right?
Thomas would not make this team. Fucking Sean Payton would hate him, dude.
No, dude.
He would hate him. He would
unless
be
he
like,
played,
no, man.
unless he played
you can't
basketball.
block.
Unless he played basketball.
He did.
Yeah, see,
He did. Right position, wrong player.
Yeah.
dude, that's what I'm talking about. But honestly, man, like Demaryius Thomas, dude. We need Demaryius Thomas. Now, if we're needing a guy who's a little bit more vocal, how about going with somebody like freaking Willis McGahee? That dude, that guy's a champion. That guy's a champion. Refused to lose. And we don't win so many of those games in 2012 and 2013, man. Well, you know, we had Manning in 2013, but you understand what I'm saying, man. I love Willis McGahee, and I will defend Emmanuel Sanders because sometimes you just got to yell at your
Emmanuel Sanders
quarterback
is
and say,
amazing.
make the throw.
That was my guy. It was Emmanuel Sanders or Shannon Sharp, man.
That's my guy right there.
I mean, Shannon Sharp was like, he was different. He was
Shannon-
different. Oh, obviously, it would be Peyton Manning over anybody. I mean, you're always going to take him, but yeah, Emmanuel Sanders was different.
Shannon Sharp is the guy who, like, he made your offense have to walk the walk because he talked so much stuff that it basically forced the rest of the offense to back it up or else. And that's what this team needs. This team needs that competitive, like, we have to go show him. And Shannon would talk so much, but he would back it up. Like, the man was a Hall of Famer for a reason. And that is the biggest position of need for us on the offense.
Maybe we can trade for Mark Andrews. Did the Ravens just blow this game?
Dude, we need Sean Payton to be like Dan Campbell, dude. Because it's like pick an identity and just roll with it. Like Dan Campbell would always go on for it on fourth, and he might miss, but he keeps on doing it. And if Sean Payton was consistent yesterday, maybe it's a different game, and it brings the attitude that you need, because the Lions just they whooped up on the Ravens, and it was awesome.
Dude, 38-24
Yep.
on the road, dude. The Ravens losing by double digits at home.
Oh, and the way I don't know if you were watching the end of it, but like talk about letting your nuts hang. That's what I'm talking about. He went for it on 4th and 2 in his own side of the field, only up a touchdown, and just said take it. And then he went for the touchdown for the jugular. It was awesome. I love that shit.
Wow.
God, I would love if we did that.
Dude,
But we don't.
trade for Mark Andrews.
We punt. We punt.
No,
We have a really good punter
we
now.
punt. Dude,
Now we have
this
an
is
excuse.
crazy. I can't believe I hit the over, dude. I had the over. It was like the highest of the week. It was at 52.5. I'm like, man, that's high. I'm like, man, I'm going over. I'm now $4.55 richer, baby.
Let's go. You smashed
Bang.
the over.
Bang.
Yeah, I know. All right, guys. I guess that's about it. It's almost my bedtime, but before we go, you guys all got to tell me what you're doing on your channels this week. Start with Kodiak.
All right. Well, I just responded to a bunch of people on my TikTok comments with that video on Riley Moss yesterday. So I'm putting out a lot of stuff on TikTok there. Follow me on TikTok at Kodiak Broncos YT. That's my handle. But like I do every week, I will put out something on this team, and I will put something out on the visiting team, and we'll see what goes from there. But yes, that's what I got upcoming this week. And we have a longer week because now we're going to be waiting 7 more days instead of 6 to see the Broncos again. So,
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
At least they can't ruin my Sunday, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I guess we should do horsepower hour like Tuesday night next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
good with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm
Jeremy?
good with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna have a horsepower hour post game, but I guess we're doing it a day after like normal. And yeah, we'll do the post game as well. Me and Mark do it together, and yeah, that's what I got going. For all the people that are up in arms and overreacting, hopefully overreacting, I would just caution, let's just have a little perspective. This is a good football team. We will be better. I think this team just needs to grow a little bit more. But if we're still talking these same conversations in November, fine. But I think we will be a totally different team by then. So keep the faith.
Wonderfully said. Mark, staying busy. New camera, new mic.
Yeah, new
Who
camera,
dis?
new mic. Yeah, man, we'll see what I feel like. I might take a couple days off just because it's like for my own sanity. And I have the extra day with the Bengals, but I'll be going into doing a lot of film reviews. I'll put some film reviews up, maybe of like specific players or maybe just very specific plays that echo exactly what Jeremy was saying. Like we're at a point now where instead of just needing to play perfect because we aren't talented enough to win, those days are over. I think it's, we're good enough to beat anybody in the NFL. We just need to not do the stupid things to lose games, which is a good place to be in. Now, obviously, you have to go out and execute. So I think I'll focus a little bit of content around that. Maybe I should start getting on TikTok a little bit more, man. I just that app makes me very anxious. But
Yes.
But yeah, that's what I got going on. We'll do the post game like we usually do, me and Jeremy after the game, and you know what? Maybe I'll make a fantasy football video this week too, just for fun, because I've been wanting to do that. And now that we have Sunday off, it affords me an extra day to be able to do it. So if you like fantasy football, I might have some stuff for y'all.
I'm about to
David,
be
what you
0-3.
got cooking, man? You're a busy man all the time.
0-3, all 3 of my fantasy football teams, dude. I suck at fantasy football. I just always draft the injury-prone guys. Anyways, Desmond Watson, I'm going to do a video on him this week. Y'all feel free to piggyback on that because, we're part of this Desmond Watson community, man. We play the Eagles here in 2 weeks. What the hell are we doing, dude? There's a guy who's almost 500 pounds on the open market. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Except he would have been my pick over Crawshaw, so what do I know? And Crawshaw's obviously looking like a better pick at this point, but
Well, I mean, wasn't he a 7th round pick? No, he was undrafted, right?
he was a UDFA. And listen, man, I was spreading Desmond Watson propaganda anywhere you went, if you guys remember back in April. But yeah, I don't know. I will be tuned in for that game. We will have our popcorn ready.
Yes, hopefully
So will he.
sign Desmond Watson. So, gonna do a video shilling that. Please go check out David Talks Buffs as well, because now we're gonna go run the table and upset BYU, hopefully. So, appreciate you guys as always. This is always one of the best parts of my week. Y'all go subscribe to all my friends. Links in the description. We'll see y'all later. Go Broncos.
That sacrifice is grabbed.